of what happened last time, which of course set up the events that ultimately led to Mike Johnson as the replacement to Kevin McCarthy. There was talk about holdouts. There was even a kind of a nail-biting vote. Here's how it played out.
Johnson could only afford to lose the support of just one Republican. He has lost 3.
This was a muscle flexing of a minority of the party, of the Republican Party, demonstrating to Speaker Johnson, we can take you down if we want to.
These people are insanely destructive.
The Republicans now in what should be a stronger position, seeming to not send the message that they're ready to govern.
This is as really literally as self-destructive as I've ever seen a political party be.
Speaker Johnson is leaving the floor.
Donald Trump told him, hey, get in line.
We saw the 2 lawmakers approach the front there and change their votes.
Mr. Norman, Johnson. Mr. Self, Johnson.
The 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson.
That's how it went down today. Then you get the gavel there. Johnson got the needed 218 votes. This is, of course, always supposed to be the easy part. It was nothing like the 15-round vote I mentioned that McCarthy faced. But it was also, as you heard even a former Republican speaker, Newt Gingrich, say, that was the voice over the Fox News coverage that we just aired a clip of, that this is a razor-thin House majority. And so some of that back and forth, which did not prevent Johnson from the big job today, some of that back and forth still demonstrated how literally one House Republican or 2 House Republicans can tank votes if they are party-line votes. Now, if it's a Ukraine issue and Johnson can pick up 50 votes on the Democratic side, he won't be as worried about that. But on a lot of the issues that Trump wants, the MAGA hardline agenda, things that Democrats have vowed to oppose, well, this speaks to some of the silver lining that Democrats see. It's a narrow margin, which gives them more leverage. Now I'm going to show you newly elected Speaker Johnson on the priorities for the next 2 years.
We will act quickly, and we will start by defending our nation's borders. That's the #1 priority. We will secure the border, we will deport, we'll extend the Trump tax cuts, pass legislation to eliminate the Green New Deal. We're going to expedite new drilling permits, ending the ridiculous EV mandates. We're going to drastically cut back the size and scope of government.
That is the Republican agenda. Mike Johnson is a current MAGA speaker. Remember, McCarthy was one of those holdovers from a period where he had obviously worked with Trump, but was not fully MAGAfied. Mike Johnson is. He had Trump's support in the speaker vote here, which clearly helped him with a razor-thin margin. And he's just told you what he's going to try to do, thin margin or not. So to get into it, we are joined by Melanie Zanona, NBC News and MSNBC political contributor and a congressional reporter at Punchbowl. You were there covering all of this today. Walk us through what it felt like from your eyewitness reporting and what it means to have what is historically one of the thinnest margins ever.
Yeah, it was a really dramatic vote, even though Mike Johnson did end up getting it done in the end. But for a while there, it looked like he might not be able to actually pull it out. And really, it was Donald Trump who helped push him over the finish line. In the last few moments there, it was down to these 3 holdouts. That's Thomas Massie, Ralph Norman, and Keith Self. Massie was viewed as a non-starter, and he was a lost cause. So then Johnson began working the other 2 on the floor. I'm told that Nancy Mace then quickly dialed up Donald Trump, who was in the middle of a golf game. And then they all went to this back private room where they huddled, passed the phone over to Norman and to Self with Donald Trump on the line. And I'm told he made his pitch. Donald Trump said, look, I need you to be with me. I need this to enact my agenda. I need you to vote for Mike Johnson. He didn't make any threats. He didn't try to bully them. But he did make crystal clear that this was something that was really important to him. And then within 15 minutes, those members were back on the floor, changed their votes, and ultimately got Mike Johnson over the finish line. But I think there's 2 big takeaways for me here. Number one, Donald Trump still has a ton of influence in the House Republican Conference. There were 11 Republicans, conservatives, who came out after the vote with a statement saying, we still have reservations about Mike Johnson. but we only voted for him because of Donald Trump, because we don't want to delay the certification of his election, and because we want to get quickly moving on enacting some of these priorities. And the second biggest takeaway is that just because Johnson ended up getting it on the first ballot doesn't mean governing is going to be easy for him. I think this is a flashing red light for Johnson of just how difficult is going to be over these next few months. That number that I mentioned also is really important. It was 11 conservatives who put out that letter. The reason why that's important is because it only takes 9 members under this new rule package they're about to vote on to force a motion to vacate the speakership. So that is something Johnson's going to have to worry about. It's going to be a constant threat hanging over his head. They're working with these razor-tight margins, trying to enact these really big agenda items. So it's just going to be, I think, a tumultuous few years here on Capitol Hill.
What are those early agenda items that we would expect? You know, the president often talks about the first 100 days. The House here has every reason to move quickly on the big items. 2 years is a long time. You could have even a change of membership in that time. So what do you see coming first?
Well, they're really trying to move something called reconciliation. That is a fast-track budget process that allows them to circumvent that 60-vote threshold in the Senate. In other words, they only need Republicans to get something done. And they are looking to use that to advance a number of priorities. They want to shore up border security. They want to do Trump tax cuts. They want to do some energy provisions. They're actually going to be huddling tomorrow off campus to try to figure out their strategy, whether they're going to do 1 bill, 2 bills. But that is going to be a 100-day priority for them. It's going to be a huge hurdle because there's a lot of different landmines within each of those. And some of these conservatives are warning that they want spending cuts, they want offsets, that they're not just going to rubber stamp whatever is put together, and they want to be included in that process. The other 2 things I would say we need to look out for is government funding. That is coming around the corner in March. They kicked the deadline to mid-March, so that's going to be a huge hurdle for them as well, the possibility of a government shutdown. And then, of course, the debt limit. That is something also probably going to come up in the summer. That's why Trump wanted them to get it done before he came into office, because he knows that's going to be a huge mess, especially given these razor-tight majorities.
So what was more exciting for you, the ball dropping on New Year's Eve or getting the speaker today? Because these are the big New Year's events.
Yeah, you know, compared to last year, this was a pretty mild speaker event. Last year, it was 15 rounds, and they also went through the Kevin McCarthy ousting. So by comparison, this was actually pretty tame. But I do think, like, stepping back here is pretty crazy to see what normally are these routine speaker votes where you don't have speakers going to the floor unless they have the votes, now turning into these must-watch events and these nail-biter votes. That is the new normal around here. So we'll see what it's like going forward.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a busy time, especially in the start here of this month. So we'll be checking back in with you. Melanie Zanona, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. I want to turn to the other breaking story. A New York judge today upholding, I should say, Donald Trump's felony conviction. You might remember the hush money case and all of these issues, but the sentencing was booted until after the election. Judge Merchan now ordering Trump to appear, that could be virtually or in person, for a criminal sentencing. And this is soon, next week, on Friday. The judge signaling that he will not attempt to give Trump any jail time in this sentencing. So that is the big question that had at least percolated before the election. Now that he's the president-elect, no one would expect a local or state proceeding to try to incarcerate the sitting United States president. So some of that is sort of already worked out. Trump is expected to appeal this whole thing. It's a remarkable moment, though, with or without jail in American history. Here's how the New York Times put it. The sentencing cements Mr. Trump's status as a felon just weeks before his inauguration, and he would be the first to carry that dubious designation into the presidency. We learned of this just today because the judge just went forward on it. And so I got to fit in a quick 90-second break. Then I'm going to bring back Jake Holman-Dory to talk through the law of this and this criminal presidency when we come back.
Today, my friend, you did it. You did it.
Pursue a better you with Centrum. It's a small win toward taking charge of your health. So this year you can say,
you did it.
Childhood cancer it's hard, but St. Jude has gotten us through it. St. Jude is hope for every child diagnosed with cancer because the research is being shared all over the world.
Well, would you look at that?
Jerry, you gotta see this. Saying it.
to uphold, deeply immoral. It's something that we should have talked about more, and it's something we still can talk about more.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear you say that because Trump has had this journey and he returns to the White House, and we all know a lot of that. But, you know, Bill Clinton had 2 terms in the White House, and the Republican apparatus did not tire of efforts to use various legal processes. Some of them were fully lawful. Some of them may have actually skirted it, and everyone can debate what is politicized law or not. But they certainly never tired of saying, well, Whitewater didn't lead to anything, or bringing in aides to testify didn't lead to anything. We better just drop it, or this isn't, quote, working. And so it speaks to some sort of difference in the political energies or psychologies in a way that what you just described, again, I'm making a political observation mixed with the legal underpinning, but the legal part is done in this case. He was convicted. And it very well may be fair that he was convicted, which is how New York deals with this, but that he doesn't immediately go to jail because he's a first-time offender and these were business issues. But how do you see that contrast to the sort of relentless approach on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what happened with Bill Clinton, I mean, the Republicans went relentlessly against him, and it very much hurt Al Gore. Al Gore was very much hurt by the sense that there were all these Clinton scandals and we needed to change and turn the page. And George W. Bush said, I'm going to restore honor and integrity to the Oval Office. You know, I remember Chris Matthews, who was on this network and once had the show that was after this, saying, you know, Bill Clinton took the bath and Al Gore got the bathroom ring, you know, and that was a result of a sustained Republican attack on those issues. And it did matter. It mattered very much when, you know, Bill Clinton's scandals, all of those things were attacked, and it caused a sense among the electorate that they have to turn the page. We just never really did that with Donald Trump, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's striking. It's an interesting point. Again, I say that separate from the underlying rule of law, which should be done in a totally nonpartisan way, and that could involve, we've covered it. We covered the Hunter Biden case. We covered the Menendez case on the Democratic side. We've covered the Trump cases. None of that on the inside should be politicized. But the facts or results that come out of a case, right, are public materials that anyone in politics or society can then respond to. For example, you had a lot of Trump aides testifying to his criminality in that case. So that's now on the public record. It wasn't his critics. It wasn't people who didn't know him. It was people who worked closely with him, just like his CFO had to do a bit. We're out of time, Che, but do you know when the next Che Day is?
I do not. I hope it's coming up soon.
I don't either. I don't either. This is how it works.
No, it's like who's going to be Speaker of the House? It's all unexpected. It's all up in the air.
Well done. Che, have a great weekend. Happy New Year. We have a lot going on tonight on this Friday. We have a big show because coming up, even after all these big stories, is the one and only James Carville. That's next.
Do your dry eyes still feel gritty, rough, or tired? With MyBo, eyes can feel MyBo. MyBo is the only prescription dry eye drop that forms a protective layer for the #1 cause of dry eye, too much tear evaporation. For relief, that's MyBo. Remove contact lenses before using MyBo. Wait at least 30 minutes before putting them back in. Eye redness and blurred vision may occur. What does treating dry eye differently feel like? For relief that feels MyBo. Ask your eye doctor about prescription MyBo.
Introducing new Eroxon Gel, the first FDA-cleared ED treatment available without a prescription. Eroxon Gel is clinically proven to work within 10 minutes, so you and your partner can experience the heights of intimacy. New Eroxon ED Treatment Gel.
Just because it's wet outside, you don't need to wear boots. Presenting Skechers waterproof sneakers with rugged 100% waterproof construction in a comfy, breathable, lightweight, easy-to-wear sneaker. Ditch the boots and experience comfy, capable Skechers waterproof sneakers.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious. With better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best.
The average dog only lives to be 10. That's 10 birthdays, 10 first summer swims, 10 annual camping trips. At the Farmer's Dog, we don't think that's long enough. That's why our freshly made food comes pre-portioned, just for your dog. Because a dog at a healthy weight can live a longer, happier life.
What's Simply Safe got that I don't?
24/7 monitoring to help stop crime in real time.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Maybe Simply Safe and I could work together.
Unlikely.
There's no safe like Simply Safe.
48% of Americans don't get enough magnesium, which is vital for bone, nerve, and muscle health. I recommend Cunol's magnesium glycinate. It's formulated for high absorption and is gentle on the stomach. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Herbal Essences is a force of nature, made with supercharged botanical blends. Our sulfate-free formulas deeply penetrate to boost hair health without the Salon Naturals price tag. Herbal Essences.
These days, the dollar just doesn't go as far. But at Red Lobster, you're big shrimping, baby. It's shrimp your way. Choose 2 or 3 flavors starting at just $16.99, like garlic shrimp scampi. Get your shrimp on today, only at Red Lobster.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this. Loan Falcon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
For years, I was stuck using traditional foundation. They'd always cake or crease in my fine line. That's why I created Bake, Balance, and Brighten, our award-winning foundation for mature skins. You'll love how it feels and how you'll look. Learn more at laurageller.com.
Broccoli, eh? Gotta eat them greens.
Talking about broccoli? I'm trying to get this green on Price Picks.
Huh?
Price Picks is giving you $50 instantly in site credits when you play your first $5 lineup.
Download the app. Prize Picks. Run your game.
I have to find a babysitter.
I have a lot of questions.
When can they start?
Today? Now?
How about Saturday? Are they background checked?
My wife and I haven't been out in a year.
We need a date night.
No offense.
Find all the care you need at care.com.
House Democrats will work hard to find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues and the incoming administration on any issue, whenever and wherever possible. We will push back against far-right extremism whenever necessary.
Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries speaking today. We showed you the new Speaker of the House, Jeffries, speaking to this context and vowing to fight what you heard there, MAGA right-wing extremism. Democrats also talking about the safety net and the economy. And I want to bring in a longtime Democratic strategist, James Carville. Happy New Year. Happy Congress.
Same deal, same year. We had a little glitch here, major glitch in New Orleans, but we got to get through these things.
Sure.
I think people are starting to do that.
Yeah, and I hear you on that as a local, and we were covering that as well last night. A lot of people following that from the New Year's Day, so a tough one there. On the politics, James, I want to start with the future, and then by the end of our conversation, we'll go to the past. So, as we go towards the future, what do you think Hakeem Jeffries is doing right or wrong, and what do you think Democrats need to start with going forward with the new Congress beginning today?
I think Democrats need to push a limited agenda, and I think it should have three things. First, it should really be impactful to people's lives. Second, it should enjoy broad support across the Democratic Party, in fact, across the United States, not just Democrats, but across the board. And three, and very important, it has to be something that Republicans cannot be for. So let's start by codifying Roe v. Wade. 68% popularity across the board, 96% popularity in the Democratic Party. Raise the minimum wage. We've had a minimum wage raise since 2009. America needs a raise. Let's give it to them. They can't be for it. And third, and I think the most important, is let the tax cuts for incomes over $400,000 a year expire and use that money to help young people buy or rent a house. And they can't be for any of that. We can. All are wildly popular in the party and across the board. And we're not going to pass gas, okay? And Trump, I saw him on the phone, was telling people we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity. We control the White House, the House, the Senate, great, and the federal courts. But we need to be very limited in what we propose, and it has to be really broad-based and wide support, and we should just ram it home. Just ram it home.
Right, and what are sometimes called wedge issues can also be momentum. If, when you mentioned minimum wage, it might be a wedge for Republicans who are afraid of it, but if you could get a vote on it, some of them might feel pressure to vote on it, and they certainly don't necessarily want to have to defend being against it when they claim this was a populist, egg price election, and Musk is going to cut your spending in the federal government. Well, what about getting your spending up? Let me play you a little more of what Jeffrey said today. Take a listen.
Okay.
So let me be clear. Social Security and Medicare are not entitlement programs. They are earned benefits. So as Democrats, our promise to the American people is that we will fight hard to make sure that no one in this town takes away Social Security or Medicare from the American people.
That's a longstanding Democratic priority. On the politics of the messaging, James, is that good enough? Or do you ever worry that years into this, you mentioned, not you, I should say, Jay Comanduri earlier mentioned Al Gore, all these years later, it's like you're still talking about Social Security, a lockbox,
Right.
We hear a lot about insulin prices. Politics-wise, is that the right message? I'm not saying are those not important things, but do people look up and they feel like they're always hearing the Democrats say the same couple things? Go ahead.
That's fine. We should say it more. Okay, there's another word. You know how every year we have the word of the year? I predict the word of the year 2025 is going to be Medicaid. Medicaid, people don't realize this, is as popular as Medicare. And the Trump base is very reliant on Medicaid. And we need to expand the playing field because that's where that's where the billionaire class is coming to fund their tax cuts. And out of tens of millions, 100 million people on Medicaid that rely on it, that save them from bankruptcy, that provide for nursing care, for really infirm people, is right there. So I agree with what the leader said. He's a great guy, but remember Medicaid. We always talk about Social Security and Medicare. We should. They're very popular, very successful programs, but let's not forget this, and that's where they're coming first. Just remember that. That's my prediction. They're coming first for Medicaid, and they got to have a hard wall and a hard argument here. And I think they're going to do pretty good. I think they're going to do pretty good.
Okay. Let me play for you Congressman McGovern, who was trying to remind everyone that while we hear these national stories, right, we all hear the word narrative, but the House is governed by a series of district elections. And the Senate, because of our strange rules, only a third of it's ever up for re-election any given year. And so McGovern was reminding everyone there's no mandate for the Republicans in the House. Take a listen.
I first want to take issue with the word choice of the gentlelady from Minnesota who kept on talking about a mandate, Republican mandate. Where's the mandate? Is it in the room with us? Maybe it's hiding under the table. But the last time I checked, Republicans actually lost seats in the House of Representatives.
Does that matter?
So I disagree with messaging. Okay, he's exact. No, you got everything. Donald Trump is bragging that they have control of the entire federal government. Okay, now we know they don't have a mandate, but as long as they think they do or say they do, they're going to get into more trouble. I don't think we should argue or not whether they have a mandate. They have control. They want to do bad things. We're going to stop them from doing bad things. But more than that, we're going to propose good things we're going to do so our candidates have a party to run with, not a party to run from in 2026. So I have great respect for Congressman McGovern, but I profoundly disagree with his message. You got mandate, you got everything, you got power, it's all yours. You go. You go.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because the party's going to have to figure that out. And it's sort of a pundit class or political nerd thing to focus so much on, and we all do it. Oh, look, compare this to that race and this chart. you're making a deeper kind of point about how life is lived, which is, okay, they said they won, they're in charge, then they're responsible. They own the economy, they own national security, they own foreign policy. And by the way, and we're going to be covering this in these confirmation hearings in these coming weeks, and it matters a lot, if you want to put hack partisans in charge of the FBI, who literally admit that they want to use it as a partisan, score-settling, secret police type thing, okay, well, every time there's an attack and God forbid, people dying and terrorism, because the FBI doesn't have its eye on the ball of what it's supposed to be doing, right? That's another important point of do you own that? Because you guys said you're in charge. What are you doing? Are you protecting the people? So I got to fit in a break for time. James, you've agreed to stick around. I want to tell people why they should stick around. Okay, James is already in. Whether people say, you know, it's already Friday and they want to move on, we've got an Elon Musk update. We got more James Carville and James discussing whether he got anything wrong in 2024.
What drives your business? Numbers, data, sales? Sure, but it's your people who define your business. That's why Paychex just reinvented the way to find and keep the best people. Smart, streamlined HR technology assisted by AI and our team of HR experts. Everything you need to recruit, motivate, and support your employees. Because your people are your business. Start reinventing your business at paychex.com/TV.
If you're living with diabetes, I'll tell you the same thing I tell my patients. Getting on Dexcom G7 is one of the easiest ways to take better control of your diabetes and help protect yourself from the long-term health problems it can cause. This small wearable replaces finger sticks, lowers A1C, and it's covered by Medicare.
Not managing your diabetes really affects your health for the future. The older you get, the more complications you're going to see.
I knew I couldn't ignore my diabetes anymore because it was causing my eyesight to go bad.
Before the Dexcom G7, doctor's appointments were not something I looked forward to.
For my patients, getting on Dexcom G7 is the biggest eye-opener they've ever had.
When I got Dexcom G7, I couldn't believe how easy it was. This small wearable sends my glucose numbers right to my phone or my receiver. With just a glance, I can see if I'm going high, low, or steady, so I can quickly get my glucose under control and better protect myself from complications. My A1C is down to 5.8.
Call now to get started on the most accurate and most recommended CGM brand. You'll also get a free discussion guide for your next doctor's visit.
Dexcom G7 has changed my life for the better. Now I'm a superstar. My A1C is 5.7.
My A1C has never been lower. I go swimming, I ride my exercise bike, and I play with my grandkids. I finally have my life back.
My wife used to worry about me having diabetes before my Dexcom G7, but now she doesn't worry as much because she knows.
It gives me a lot of peace of mind. I want him to be around for
No other CGM system is more affordable for Medicare patients. Don't miss out. You may be entitled to this valuable benefit. Call the number on your screen now to talk to a real person.
My little miracle is Beckett.
I've died every day waiting for you.
We wouldn't be where we are without St. Jude, and in turn, we wouldn't be where we are without those people that have donated.
Advil liquid gels are faster and stronger than Tylenol rapid-release gels. Also from Advil, Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact and lasts up to 8 hours.
Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bath or shower with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel that's safer at a price you can afford. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year.
Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. Oh.
From soft closed shower doors and adjustable shower heads to features like grab bars and custom seats that combine safety and style, it's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your one-day installation, and start loving your new bath or shower right away.
Call or go online. Right now, we are waiving all installation costs and offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-378-9643. Call now.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to OnDeck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take Cunol Magnesium to support my muscle and bone health. Cunol's high absorption magnesium glycinate helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Cunol, the brand I trust.
We're going to win. Okay, this is not the country I live in. This is just, I refuse to believe that. We're going to win because this is not who we are. I'm very comfortable with my prediction, my certainty that we're going to win, because we're going to win, baby. We're just going to win this thing.
We're going to win. You heard James Carville say it right here and other places. He wasn't the only top Democrat saying that, and confidence was something that was part of what the Harris campaign wanted to project. James, for those who've been watching, continues to be our guest. I just want to mention that he owns up to this in a way that, frankly, a lot of Washington political types don't. You write in the New York Times, quote, "I was wrong about the 2024 election. We lost for a simple reason. It is, and it will always be the economy. Stupid." That's James quoting James. "We have to begin this year," he says, 2025, "with that truth as our political North Star and not get distracted by anything else." The piece also says perception is everything in politics. A lot of Americans perceive Democrats as out to lunch on the economy, and they have to talk about the economy in ways that are persuasive, repetitive, memorable, be entirely focused on the issues that affect Americans' everyday lives. James Carville, why were you wrong? You can expound on what I quoted there. You began to answer it. And second, why is it important to you to own up and maybe write this piece? Again, I'm not trying to be overly nice to you just because we like you, but I can think of other people in politics who've been wrong, who were wrong or got certain things wrong in the last year, and I haven't seen pieces like that from them. So why is it important to you to write the piece?
Well, first of all, I have a simple rule, being a commentator, a pundit, what you call it is. People will never blame you for being wrong. They will blame you for being boring. Okay? They'll blame you for having a mealy-mouthed thing. So, okay, I was wrong. If you sit here, you do the Melber show, I don't know, 14 times a year, you're not going to make every call right. By the way, it was profoundly right that identity politics was a political loser for Democrats. That was profoundly right that Biden was not running for re-election. It was not the best idea we had. But that's not the question. I'm going to continue. If I have an opinion, I think it's form, I'll continue to make it, and I'm not going to be scared that I'm wrong. And I don't mind at all people pointing out I was obviously wrong. And I wanted to be right. I wanted desperately to be right. And, you know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, just we ought to give up. This is just a racist, misogynist country. Well, you didn't move to Canada, now did you? So this is the country we live in. We got to win in 2026. We got to win in 2028. And let's talk about how we do that. And that's what I really believe. And I promise you, I will be wrong in the future, but I will endeavor to not be boring. That's a motto that I live by.
So let's dig into what you mentioned in the piece as well. We talked a bit about the economy, and I think a lot of folks have talked about that and how much that registered with the voters. You also say you got to get past the Trump obsession, and I want to kind of draw you out on that point because it seems that, and I could show a lot of evidence for this, there were mechanisms on the left that benefited from the Trump resistance, the outrage and concern over his rise in 16 and 17. Entire podcasts, entire political machines, entire fundraising operations, and aspects of the media, right, that benefited from that. That's different, though, I think you point out in the piece, from the broad-based agenda of the national political party to win elections, to wield power on behalf of the public. And so I'm curious if we can be as truthful as possible. Let's put aside the fact, okay, we're talking on a media channel, yada, yada. What do you think about that contrast, that some of the maybe narrators of these issues had a different priority set than the party, and you say the party needs to move past Trump entirely?
Well, what I'm saying, look, I take a backseat to no one in how much I detest Trump and what I think of him. Okay, I'm as fanatical and rabid as the most anti-Trump person you can. But this I do know, and I forgot it, but I'm never going to forget it again in my limited time left on this earth. Voters want an election about them, not about the politicians. And we became obsessed with Trump to the point that we forgot voters and their concerns. That should never happen again. We should make the election, because Trump can't run for re-election, all right? Everything that I see tells me he's going to have a really, really unfortunate time in his term being. But what we need to do is focus on people's lives, not Trump's problems. Let the legal system and other people, and he'll say enough stupid things and appoint enough horrendous people that will become obvious to people. But while that's going on, I think we need to raise wages, protect people's retirement, expand opportunities to buy or rent a home. Okay, these are the kinds of things. Protect women's rights. You know, it's such an economic issue. I live in Louisiana, which is probably 50th or 49th in childhood poverty for children born into poverty. And if a 32-year-old woman working at the Walmart in Oberlin, Louisiana, has to go, I don't know, 750 miles before she could get a legal abortion. She's got 2 kids. She can't pay for it. Her boyfriend is beating her up. And we got to make that about this person's life, too. She's an important person. She's an economic being. And there are many, many other people that are similarly situated in a lot of states. And let's make it about this and let them fall apart with their billionaire, cut Medicaid, cut Medicare, give all the billionaire class tax breaks and you know, shaft the poor woman working at the Walmart. I mean, that's not that they're going to lose that. But let's make them pay on that. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. And then finally, in the piece, you refer to embracing new methods, new digital media. One of the reasons that the part of the Democratic Party struggled with that is a kind of sensitivity, purity test. Some people call it cancel culture, deplatforming. There's a lot of different words for it. But bottom line, there was a view that you shouldn't even go talk to them, that when Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan a few years back, it was considered a mainstream, valid criticism to say that him talking to Rogan meant he was agreeing with or validating Rogan, and that was unacceptable. When it seems to be, politics is the opposite. If Joe Rogan has 40 million people listening to his thing, and you can use that engagement to bring some of them over, well, that might help with the things you just mentioned, women's rights, minimum wage. What do you think about that, and do you think any of that's changing in the party?
Well, one of the things I'm on a massive campaign to educate myself on how people receive information. I grew up thinking, boy, if you just get an op-ed piece in the New York Times, that's important. A lot of people we know read it. It's a very influential newspaper. I'm very glad to be in it. But there are all kind of other places that people get information. And I think that they have figured it out in ways that we haven't. So rather than curse the darkness, I'm going to light a candle and I'm talking to people is, okay, how are people receiving information? I'm really pushing that we need to do a massive media consumption story because we are using traditional ways to reach people, which apparently from everything that I see, they're getting information from these, and a lot of them are really poor information, okay? I understand that. But we need to understand how people receive information better. And I promise people I'm going to dedicate a good part of my time to trying to learn about it. Because I'm an old-fashioned guy, but the way people receive information is changing by the day.
I don't even think you're old-fashioned. Sometimes you're a little old school, and we respect that. But old school and new school together is always a great combo, which sounds like what you're working on. James, thanks for joining me. Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you. And have no fear, I'll be wrong again, but I promise you, I'm not going to be boring, man. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Amen. And we count on that. Thank you. Our thanks to James. When we come back, a fact check for Elon Musk.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. I recommend Pronamel Active Shield because it actively shields the enamel to defend against erosion and cavities. I think that this product is a game changer for my patients. It really works.
For more than a decade, Farxiga has been trusted again and again and again. Ask your doctor about Farxiga.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious. With better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance. Get $1,200 a year. That's $100 each month to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options Allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. You could pay nothing for covered prescriptions all year long, even name brand drugs. All plans have $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, which include 2 free cleanings a year, as well as fillings. They may also have vision coverage, including vision exams, and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts. Even hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing exams and coverage towards hearing aids. You'll even have a $0 copay for routine vaccines and telehealth visits. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like $1,200 a year to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items? So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
What if you could tackle your dog's itching, soft stools, and low energy? Millions of pet parents are raving about Dr. Marty Nature's Blend.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues.
I'm Dr. Marty. I've been a veterinarian for more than 50 years. The dangerous ingredients added to many pet foods could be impacting your dog's lifespan. That's why I formulated Nature's Blend.
Now you can feed your dog wholesome cuts of real meat, vegetables, and fruit with no artificial preservatives or fillers. Try Dr. Marty risk-free. Go to drmartypets.com/TV.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
The fact that St. Jude take care of all this is what's keeping my baby girl alive.
It's everything for us. We wouldn't know what to do if we couldn't afford for our little girl to survive, and St. Jude gives us that.
That's $225 for the night.
Not bad. $155 for the night. How? It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Hotel Trivago.
We are starting the year together, our first Friday of 2025, and we're going to fall back and fall forward today. Our two special guests are Che Komanduri, returning back to the program. He's worked for Obama, Kerry, and Hillary Clinton. Here you can see him actually all the way back in 2007 with Bill Clinton and, you know, similar hair. Really, you look, right. Yeah, you look pretty similar, Che, I would say. I'm gonna count it. We all know Che Day, Today is not a Che Day, but we still talk about Che Day when it's not Che Day. So how about that? We're also ending the hour tonight with Reverend Mark Thompson, a long-time commentator, analyst, political expert, civil rights activist, host of the Make It Plain podcast. Welcome to both of you. Mark, what is on your list to fall back and fall forward here?
Well, first of all, we all saw the initial reaction, and good to see everybody. Happy New Year. We all saw the initial reaction of what happened in NOLA. And of course, Trump tried to suggest this had to do with immigration and the lax border allegedly under the Biden administration. But that's absolutely false. We know that this was someone who was in the military and formerly in the military. And the same thing with the individual in Vegas. But just more of the xenophobia, while ironically there's a debate between him and Elon. I think they finally come together, and Ramaswamy around H-1B visas. So on the one hand, we don't like immigrants, but on the other hand, we want certain types of immigrants. But what this really points out and what is being ignored, Janet Napolitano, who was Obama's first director of Homeland Security, reported in 2008, as soon as they came in office and they were forced to walk it back, that the greatest threat was domestic terrorism, not anything from the outside. And we hear this now, we see this now further manifested, and it's unfortunate that they want to use this as an opportunity to push that xenophobic line. But that is the Kremlin strategy. That is the Kremlin line, and he's an agent of the Kremlin. And that strategy is the fog of unknowability. So we're all over the place. We're against certain immigrants. We're for certain immigrants. Immigrants cause terrorism. That is that fog of unknowability.
Yeah, and we have a headline on that. I think we can even update the headline banner because knowing you were going to bring up this important topic, I wanted to make sure that we just put the facts up that it's it's a citizen, right? There are times where you're dealing with other data and other issues, but if we're going to have this conversation, the news, the facts, Jay, are that this was done by an American citizen, and if you care about the issue, security, each other, then you focus on the facts, not demagoguing it, right?
No, you certainly should not demagogue it. And this is a very dark playbook that Trump and MAGA have followed. It's historically leads to very terrible outcomes, where you basically look at marginalized groups and blame them for all manner of social ills. It has happened repeatedly to African Americans. In our history, it has happened to Jewish Americans.
A lot of people are canceling X for that reason. Right. So, many people have decided that come January 20th, they're leaving X, going to other platforms such as Blue Sky for the very reasons you articulated. So while Elon is canceling so many of us, maybe it's not such a bad idea that we cancel X.
I got 30 seconds for your reply, Jay.
Yeah, I think that's certainly the case because in addition to having maybe objectionable viewpoints, which is one thing we can debate those, we can argue those. There's a lot of misinformation of the kind that we've just discussed. Misinformation, things that are outright falsehoods, and things that are actually rather dangerous pieces of misinformation.
Yeah, and I think both of you raised those important points. With Musk, it was a guy who was known for gathering a lot of money in business. Then wanted to make a new business. And he talked a lot about free speech during that rise of taking over Twitter and turning it to X, but he hasn't practiced it. And so people can then vote with their participation, just like the rest of the economy and the internet. Mark and Shay, thanks to both of you. Happy New Year. We'll be right back.
Look out, 'cause here I come.
Have you always had trouble with your weight? Same.
Discover the power of Wegovy. With Wegovy, I lost 35 pounds. And some lost over 46 pounds.
And I'm keeping the weight off.
I'm reducing my risk. Wegovy is the only weight management medicine proven to reduce risk of major cardiovascular events such as death, heart attack, or stroke in adults with known heart disease and obesity.
Don't use Wegovy with semaglutide or GLP-1 medicines or in children under 12. Don't take if you or your family had MTC, MEN2, or if allergic to it. Tell your provider if you plan to have surgery or a procedure, are breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. Stop taking and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or any of these allergic reactions. Serious side effects may include pancreas inflammation and gallbladder problems. Call your prescriber if you have any of these symptoms. Wegovy may cause low blood sugar in people with diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat diabetes. Call your prescriber about vision changes, if you feel your heart racing while at rest, or if you have mental changes. Depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, stomach pain, flu or upset, headache, feeling tired, dizzy or bloated, gas, and heartburn. Some side effects lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
With Wegovy,
I'm losing weight.
I'm keeping it off.
And I'm lowering my CV risk. Ask your prescriber about Wegovy.
Your life is pretty smart. But when it's time to eat, suddenly you feel out of sync. Refresh your routine with Factor. Chef-prepared meals delivered with a tap, ready in 2 minutes. Imagine dinner on autopilot and enjoying Tuscan tomato chicken without lifting a finger. Upgrade your plate. Optimize your nutrition. Eat smart with Factor.
Sore throat got your tongue? Mucinex Insta-Sue Sore Throat Medicated Drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts.
That's my baby!
Try our new sugar-free cough drop. Insta-Soothe!
St. Jude, they gave it 110% every time. And for Kennedy to get treatment here without having to pay anything was amazing.
Donald Trump plans to reshape the U.S. government.
Democrats have wasted no time in laying the groundwork to fight the incoming Trump administration.
Donald Trump wants a presidential cabinet full of loyalists.
Don't miss the weekend, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 8
on MSNBC.
Stay informed on the biggest issues of the day. MSNBC has you covered wherever you are. Watch, read, and listen. For the in-depth coverage and analysis you need, stay with MSNBC.
It's party time! I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. More Vegas action, more casino favorites, the latest slots, and more ways to win. With Jackpot Party, you earn daily bonuses just for playing. Yes! What are you waiting for? Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan Falcon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Trying on glasses using Warby Parker's virtual try-on is so lifelike, so realistic, that you might not even be able to tell what's real from what's virtual. Yep, it's that good. Virtually try on hundreds of styles at warbyparker.com.
So James Carville starting the year by telling us what he got wrong last year, and he spoke about that. My question to you tonight is, what did you get wrong last year? What did you learn from over the year? Or if you prefer, what did you see other people get wrong about the election? You can tell me at Ari Melber on social media. We were just talking about all the different platforms. You can go to Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok now. You just put in my name at Ari Melber, and you can send me a message or post a comment to tell me that. You can also go to arimelber.com, where I read and respond to a lot of the comments on my free newsletter. I email that to people who request it by putting your email in at arimelber.com. So what did you learn last year? What were you wrong about? That's the question inspired by James Carville. Thanks for spending time with us. The readout starts now.
Tonight on The Readout.
So as Democrats, our promise to the American people is that we will fight hard to make sure that no one in this town takes away Social Security or Medicare from the American people. Not now, not ever. No means never.
We're going to drastically cut back the size and scope of government. We're going to return the power back to the people.
Two very different visions for America as Mike Johnson barely survives the vote to maintain his position as Speaker of the House. Also tonight, with the two deadly incidents on New Year's Day involving active duty and retired military, is it time to have a very serious national conversation about the mental health of our men and women in uniform? But we begin tonight with breaking news. Judge Juan Marchand making public his decision to uphold sentencing for Donald Trump's conviction back in May on 34 counts of falsifying business records in the New York hush money case, in which Trump paid off porn actress Stormy Daniels to keep the information about their alleged affair, which he continues to deny, out of the public eye before the 2016 election.